From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. At least 19 people have been injured as a plane crashed and flipped over on the tarmac at Toronto's Pearson Airport. Orange Air Ambulance said it was transporting a child to Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital, as well as 2 adults with critical injuries to other hospitals. The plane crashed while landing this afternoon, and ABC's Alex Stone has more on weather conditions at the time of the crash.
Winds have been gusting in Toronto to 40 miles an hour, with winds even stronger several hundred feet above the ground. Blowing snow was reported at the time the CRJ 900 was landing. Visibility at around 5 to 6 miles. Temperature at 17 degrees Fahrenheit. The airfield appears to have been plowed but snowy.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford posted on X that he's relieved there are no casualties. RCMP say a newborn bitten by a dog over the weekend at a home in Alberta has since died in hospital.
The 2-week-old was airlifted to hospital after the Sunday attack in the hamlet of Entwistle, west of Edmonton. Police say the infant died in hospital despite the best efforts of medical professionals. RCMP did not provide details about the type of dog. They say the dog has been surrendered and that officers continue to investigate. Entwistle is roughly 90 kilometers west of Edmonton. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
A major winter storm means Canada's most populous city could be digging out for weeks. Toronto received some 25 centimeters of snow over the weekend, on top of a similar-sized dump last week. Toronto city officials say it could take 3 weeks to truck away all the large windrows of plowed snow that are restricting traffic and blocking sidewalks. Meanwhile, Montreal is running out of places to put the 40 centimeters of snow it received. It has postponed all curbside pickup until next week. This was deadline day for the Liberal leadership candidates to pay the final installment of their race entrance fee. All 5 candidates said they had or were about to make their final payment today. Next up, the candidates to replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will square off in 2 debates early next week in Montreal. Canadian author Antonine Maillet has died at age 95.
The novelist, playwright, and proud Acadian died at her home in Montreal. She was born in May of 1929 in New Brunswick and earned a PhD in literature in 1970 from the Université Laval in Quebec City. Years later, Maillet became the first Canadian writer to receive the prestigious French Literary Award Prix Goncourt. Her work was deeply inspired by the history, language, folklore, and traditions of the Acadian people, with more than 20 novels and 12 plays to her name. Maillet was a companion of the Order of Canada, among other titles. Brenda Molina Navidad, The Canadian Press.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, Sidney Crosby iced the game with an empty netter as Canada held on for a 5-3 win over Finland at the Four Nations face-off. The Canadians now advance to the final in a showdown with the United States Thursday at Boston's TD Garden. Now, before today's game, the Canadian national anthem was lightly booed by fans. Some retaliatory boos from the crowd in Boston were expected after Canadian fans have regularly jeered the American anthem at sporting events ever since U.S. President Donald Trump said he wanted to make Canada the 51st state. In PWHL action tonight, the Boston Fleet are visiting the New York Sirens. Defending champion Rachel Homan returns to action in today's late draw at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Homan leads the pool at 3-0. The ongoing search for the right NBA All-Star format has seen plenty of talk. Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo says the U.S. versus the world would be the best format. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.